What is going on, everybody, and welcome to tonight's webinar. It's going to be with Ben from Seller Candy. If you aren't familiar with Seller Candy, never heard about them before, it is a business, a service that handles all of those boring Seller Central tasks that we've got to deal with, even though we don't want to. I know I'd much rather spend my time sourcing, repricing, and kind of doing the things that move the needle forward in my business. And fortunately, I can allow Seller Candy to fix listings and handle all kinds of things that are just kind of pains in the neck, but things that are important to make sure that our account is healthy and sales keep happening and things like that. So it's going to be kind of fun. So Ben, what's going on, man? Thanks for hanging out with me tonight.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us. Thanks everyone else for joining here, and excited to come on and talk to your audience a little bit. It's the first time I've personally done a webinar with you, but we love doing webinars with Chris Grant. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, if you guys have questions, make sure to feel free to ask them anytime. We'll probably get to them at the end unless it's really important. No, John tonight. John's a little under the weather, so Ben stepped in valiantly so that we could keep this thing on schedule. So Ben, if you're good to go, I'm going to go ahead and pop up your screen here, and we can get rolling.
Yeah, good to go. And sorry John is not here. I will try to fill in some big shoes. But today we're talking about a very exciting topic, getting out of Amazon templated response hell. I can't see anyone that's watching this right now, but if there's anyone out there that has not had problems dealing with Seller Central, I would love if you put a message in a fire emoji, let's just go with, anywhere that you're watching this, because I'm going to follow up with you after this. I want to know what you're doing that's working. The reality is, if you're selling on Amazon, and I've been there before, you are dealing with tons of issues. Amazon's gotten a lot more complex. And so today we're going to talk about getting out of that templated copy, paste, repeat hell so that you can actually move from the operator in your business over to the owner, what you should be doing, probably the reason you wanted to start your business. So briefly, I'll just tell you what Seller Candy does. We pretty much offer outcome-driven support to Amazon sellers for anything that you would normally raise a support ticket about in Seller Central. So today, what we're going to be going over, we're going to talk about the exact strategies that our team uses to actually solve day-to-day operational issues. I'm going to give you a few examples of tough-to-solve issues, and we'll break down our process. We're going to talk about how to actually get things done faster and more efficiently. Oftentimes, more often than not, then seller support can actually do them. And we're going to talk about how we actually manage this workflow, ideally so that you only need to spend 5 to 10 minutes a day checking in rather than pulling your hair out over these frustrating issues. I mentioned we're going to do a live demo of a few critical issues. And so without further ado, let's get into it. So we call this our Seller Candy expansion system. Now I'll pull this up really quick. If you want to screenshot it, these are some of the items that we currently help our clients out with: inactive listings, account health issues, but I will come back to this in a little bit. So if you remember back to when you first started selling on Amazon, I know we have people here that have been on Amazon for a long time. They're further along in their journey, or they are maybe newer people to the journey. If you remember those early days, Amazon is not supposed to be about waking up in the morning and dealing with fires constantly. Or I feel like I always would get them on Friday afternoon, the worst possible time, a performance notification about some critical event that's happened in my Amazon account. You're not supposed to be dealing with that stuff all the time. You did not start your Amazon business to be grinding 24/7. And there's not a secret marketing tactic or hack or anything like that that's out there that's going to resolve all of this stuff. It's not about creating complicated hiring, training processes so that you can manage your team. Ultimately, we're going to tell you about the framework to actually get the most out of your Amazon business and focus on growth. So this is going to prevent you from running around in circles. This is the biggest thing that I always say. So I get on a lot of calls nowadays, every week, maybe 20 or 30 Amazon sellers. And I always joke that I should have an Amazon therapist with me because they come to me with what they think are their nuanced issues that no one else is dealing with, or that they're being kind of singled out for. And the reality is this is true across the board, right? And it's getting harder. Running around in circles, we call it copy paste hell. So we're going to talk about how you can actually get out of that and break the norm. so that you can focus on the bigger picture. Everyone who's watching this probably feels they have too much on their plate. You don't have time to hire, train, micromanage another freelancer off Fiverr or wherever. So we're going to talk about how to actually avoid that trap and build the team in the right way. And the third thing that I see preventing sellers from growing is not knowing which things to actually go and outsource first. I myself have this issue. I take pride in what I do. It's very hard for me to outsource knowing that the work may or may not get done. So if I have someone that can actually be dedicated and I know and trust them, that is one of the biggest things that has helped me unlock growth in my journey as well. All right, so today you're also going to learn how to leverage an expert assistant or assistants to create some time and space in your business and ultimately scale your revenue. How this team can actually get you, as we mentioned earlier, out of that operator position and back into the owner position. Reminds me of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad vibes. We're going to talk about how to know exactly which things you should be doing and which things you should not be doing. So the biggest impact things and how to actually go about outsourcing those. And how to find that expert team that you can actually count on. So I am not John Cavendish, as we've already established, but I will go over the slides real quick. John's our founder. He's not here today, but he co-founded Seller Candy about 3-ish years ago, and I've worked with him about 4 years. He's a successful Amazon seller, done over $5 million in revenue on Amazon. And then after exiting one of his brands, he's actually started a consultancy and done $1 million+ in consulting for brands. I have worked with him as an account manager for that consultancy. And that's unlocked a lot of opportunities for him. So now he travels and does all kinds of cool stuff. Here's some fun pictures of John. I'm Ben. My day-to-day is I talk to a lot of Amazon sellers, as I mentioned, at Seller Candy here, and just hear about their issues and talk to them about how we can resolve them. So where we're going, ultimately, we're looking for opportunities to free up your time to find more money. So Sabrina, for example, she saved 10 hours per week by implementing this system, removing those Seller Central issues from her plate. Lori, she actually reclaimed a bunch of money that she supposedly was going to get back from her refund service that they were actually missing. So getting you more money in your pocket. And Roger, he's one of our clients. He has multiple client accounts that we actually support on. By implementing this system with us, he's actually been able to deliver more value more effectively and ultimately increase the client retention. So let's get started. Chris, how are we doing? Any questions so far? Hopefully we're good to go.
No, we're good to go, man.
All right, awesome. So getting out of Amazon templated response hell. So there's going to be 3 parts to this. The first one, we're going to talk about solving Seller Central issues efficiently, or effectively rather, how to solve them faster without setting up these intricate systems. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how to actually get the expert support without the drama, without creating a second job for yourself, micromanaging multiple different parties. And we're going to talk third about how to know what to give to your team, to your assistants, and what to keep in-house or do yourself. And as a bonus, we're also at the very end, there's going to be a couple of slides on how Seller Candy can support you as you grow your Amazon business as well. So part 1, how to solve these issues. I have been a seller. I've been in your guys' shoes. I'm currently still doing some stuff with KDP and Merch by Amazon, so I don't have to deal with as much of this anymore, but I know that it is painful and it's becoming more and more painful. Just all kinds of issues keep cropping up. So we're gonna look at an example. You've got an account health warrant. It's a suspected IP violation. Always fun. I'm sure a bunch of people watching this have seen these many times. And of course, they're caused by none other than Mr. Bezos. So this is exactly how our team actually goes about resolving suspected IP violations. So step by step here. The first thing you're going to want to do is, if you don't already, and this is just some general guidance, but make sure that you have your category listing report downloaded out of Amazon, essentially a flat file that has everything that's in your catalog. And then you can use this as a reference point periodically. This used to be something you had to request from seller support through opening a ticket. Now it's available in the report section. So we always recommend that you download that and keep it up to date. So first, you need to assess what's going on. You've got this suspected IP violation and gather the necessary things to actually go troubleshoot this. So download that flat file out. And then what we're going to need to do is essentially sanitize the listing, get it compliant to deal with whatever Amazon is saying we've done wrong. Amazon loves to tell us that we have to take the blame, even if we don't feel like it. That's just the reality of dealing with the platform. So just as an example here, you're going to want to take that flat file you've downloaded out, edit some of the information on it, whether that's the brand name or a term that actually violates the IP. A really common we see with our clients is using a big brand name, for example, Jeep, without putting compatible with Jeep. Amazon, that's a big no-no. You have to have very specific terminology there. So we've seen that come up with a lot of our clients. So sanitize the listing, put that flat file together, and then you're going to re-upload that. More often than not, that's not going to always resolve the issue. So normally what we then proceed to is to do a full delete relist. This can be terrifying if you've never done it before. I know the first time I did it, it was not a fun process, but have no fear. Once you delete the listing or the ASIN out of your catalog, it's still available. Seller Central, they actually keep it in the back end. So you want to delete the listing out, wait for a full 24 hours, and then take that flat file and upload it. What this does is it triggers a refresh. And a lot of times we see that this is what actually kicks these issues out and actually pushes them through. Now, we have a decent amount of people that they go through all these steps and it doesn't work, right? This is where you need to put in the man hours and call Amazon support. And this is where you can really get lost in terms of dealing with hours on the phone. But you need to do it. You have to go through the process and open a case and then continue to follow up. You might get cut off a few times. You might, deal with some bad reps. So persistence rather, and call. One last note here. The one difficult issue we obviously know of is that you've got a listing that has a suspected IP violation. That listing, if it wasn't created by the brand owner, doesn't have UPC, that can be problematic. So ultimately, if you are at a full dead end here, we really just want to be able to get our inventory back so that we can send it in on the proper listing. So just one call out there. So walking through this, there's not a magic pill, despite what you guys have maybe heard from other people about having special inside contacts at Amazon or anything like that. There really is not a magic pill. Sure, there are reps in some cases or programs that can help a little bit, but generally speaking, there's not a magic wand or anything you do. You need to follow the process. That means knowing what you can do and then going through and actually executing on the troubleshooting and then follow up. So the way that we look at our ethos is if we can tell the seller support reps exactly how to solve the issue, then they can just follow our process. And what this does is it flips this process on its head, because normally what happens, and this is something that I did a lot in my early days selling on Amazon, is if I had an issue, I'd immediately go open a case with Seller Central and just use that. And every time you do that, if you have not done the troubleshooting steps, Amazon's going to come back to you and normally give you a canned response saying that's either totally wrong or that you need to actually go and do XYZ troubleshooting steps. By doing this other way around, then we've already completed the troubleshooting steps, and we also have now a paper trail that we can reference. So if we do have to escalate all the way to the route of doing calls to Seller Central, we can say, hey, here's what we've done. Here's the proof. We've got a batch ID. We've got this. That's going to cut down on the time and the back and forth so you can ultimately get your issue resolved quicker. Let's look at one more example. Actually, I've got a breakdown here. So again, download the category listing report out, make edits to that to clean up the listing. If that doesn't work after uploading it, then you're going to want to do a full delete relist to reset that listing, and then call. And because we love images, we've got the same thing in images. So again, we're flipping the entire issue resolution process on its head here. How about another one? This one's fun. Unfair bad reviews. What can you do? All right. These are challenging. So again, Mr. Bezos behind it all. But this is exactly how our agents are going to go about this. Now, we know that there's really two ways that you can get reviews from buyers. One is in the form of seller feedback. The second one is in the form of products reviews. So seller feedback is going to show up directly on your seller profile page versus a product review, which is only going to show on the product detail page. Product reviews are generally much more challenging to get removed. We have seen success in instances where they clearly violate terms of service. So just going to call that out now. But normally you really need to have a decent number, and a lot of them still get auto closed if you open cases for them. But it is something that you can work the same process on. So with seller feedback, very streamlined process here. Go to your Seller Central account, go to performance and feedback. That way you'll be able to see all of the negative feedback and the positive stuff. And for FBA sellers, you can go and just from the dropdown hit request removal. And more often than not, you'll be able to find that this is going to get that negative feedback removed automatically from your account. Now, there are instances, though, where it does not. And if you truly feel that it violates the Amazon guidelines, you can continue that case and continue arguing that with seller support. I've personally done this a ton, and it works quite often if you know and can call out and really spell out, hey, this is why this doesn't violate it, and follow up again with them persistent or consistently. So to remove seller feedback, if Amazon does, this is an important note here. If Amazon does refuse to remove that feedback, make sure you guys leave the case open. So either give it to an assistant or someone on your team or yourself, but even if you just need to bump it every day or two, don't let that case close out. The biggest thing we've seen is that once that case gets closed out, it's much harder to actually go and fight with Amazon to get the feedback removed. So Chris, how are we doing? Any questions here? We've gone over some challenging issues, and I skipped to the bad product reviews because those have been a big challenge these days.
Yeah, no questions yet. Although I learned something. I didn't know that it's best to leave that case open, which is kind of fascinating to me. But yeah, no questions 100%. Quite yet.
Well, and it's easy too to forget about cases, especially if you guys are, doing some volume, you have a lot of issues going on. There's plenty of times where you might have a ton of these cases going on, and it's just tough. It's a full-time job just to keep track of all the cases you have. So anyway, do your best to keep those cases open. So just a recommendation there. So at this point, normally question comes up. We've told you kind of a general framework for looking at different issues and resolving them on your account. But ultimately, the next step is then to figure out how do you actually go and streamline these and then apply a process to each one of the different Seller Central issues, whether you're facing them right now or it's something that might come up down the road. Definitely a daunting task. And this is where the part 2, getting expert support without drama, comes in. So you need to find an expert assistant or team, build out your team, but you want to avoid, of course, paying high fees, dealing with the training, creating that second job for yourself. So at the end of the day, I just want to reiterate, now more than ever, assistants need to be experts. Amazon has gotten more and more complex. There are updates every single week. Sometimes it feels like every single day. You need someone that is on top of that stuff. If it's not going to be you, then you need to find someone else who's really going to be owning that. And so that's just something to remember as you're looking for a solution for growing your team here. We've had a lot of clients come to us that have gone to one or multiple of these different platforms to bring someone on. And the challenge with a lot of them is that you might have someone who's a expert in a few different things, but that individual, you still have to hire, train, manage them, micromanage them in some cases, follow up with them. There's not always transparency what's happening. You don't have redundancy, or if they get into a difficult to solve issue, they don't have anyone else to pull on for answers. So ultimately, you're looking for not just a person, but a team, something that has knowledge from multiple different parties and areas and can constantly assist you. If you do bring on an employee or a freelancer, the common things we see are that you're going to now create, again, a second job for yourself. You're going to get asked for guidance on how to fix things or input. Problems might not always get solved, or you might just not have transparency on what that individual is doing. And ultimately, this is waste of time for you. If you're paying this person, but you don't get the value out of them unless you chase them down constantly, then what's the point? Hiring, training, and ultimately all of this is opportunity cost. So just some things to keep in mind here. You need someone reliable that can take care of normally the busy work so that you can focus on growth, right? At the end of the day, you have a few things that you're probably an expert at, as Chris mentioned at the beginning of this, sourcing new products, maybe it's expanding to new markets. That's where your focus should be. Maybe it's PPC. Those are the areas you need to focus on. You need someone else that's reliable that can take care of the rest and get that off your plate. just saw this one was funny, but these are real reviews of Seller Central, which I sign up for ulcers, which I just thought were hilarious. And I can definitely feel a few of those ones. So how do you actually go and get the team that you need without hiring a full-timer who knows your business? This is a big thing, especially as you kind of transition to the next level, right? Where you maybe have the resources to go and get one person on board. But again, we talked about some of the challenges with having one person. Where do you find a team that is not only available to you, but also at an affordable level and is someone that's accountable, that's staying on top of things, so you know that they're actually going to get done. The two simple things here are experience and numbers. So it's not that you need access to a huge team. You just need something that is reliable and that you can reasonably afford and can pull on that knowledge base. I always say, having that redundancy built in, it's not a huge issue until it becomes a huge issue. That freelancer might work for a while, but then if you have something critical happen, that person doesn't know how to resolve it. Well, now you're in trouble, right? Or you're just back to a square one there. So why is this good for you? So you want to get access to a team of real experts that have a deep knowledge and understanding of Seller Central processes. This means that you don't have to go and build all these intricate processes yourself if you have a team that already has that knowledge. You eliminate the need to really go and source, hire, train staff. And this is something even with a lot of the agencies that we talk to, they have internal teams, but a lot of times they just don't want the extra burden of bringing on another person in-house to actually deal with all of the training and upskilling. And that's something that's even more applicable, I think, at the stage of being maybe a 1, 3, 5 person team, is looking for something where you really don't have to go and deal with all of that stuff. That's, again, another job for you. You don't need to put in any oversight or minimal oversight. You trust that the people that you're working with are going to get the job done and they're going to do it right. And you need something scalable. So obviously our goal, everyone here is, trying to grow their Amazon business. So think about capacity, making sure that team that you're working with or that solution has the capacity to grow and scale with you flexibly. So this is where we get to step 3. And this is, essentially a very important step because it's identifying the things that really are going to take your business to the next level. So how to know essentially which things to give to your team, to your assistant, and then which things either you need to do or your internal team's going to do. So a few tips on this to kind of pinpoint the high impact areas and really improve essentially your entire operation. So what we recommend doing is a Amazon Seller Central gap review. So we're applying a consulting principle to the Amazon business. And there's a couple of steps in this, but it's relatively straightforward in nature. Ultimately, it evaluates all of the different aspects of your Amazon presence as it currently is. Then we're going to look at the different logical steps that we have to hit whatever our next revenue target is and actually write those out. Ideally, in the day-to-day, it's very easy to get lost in your Amazon business and maybe not always have an unbiased look at it. So we need to look at the business from an unbiased perspective. Are we doing something that maybe really does not make sense in long term if we're trying to get to XYZ revenue goal? Those are the things we want to put down on paper and really look at with a fresh perspective. And ultimately, we're going to then be able to triage from here. So what are the things, again, that make the biggest impact, fastest time, lowest cost that we can execute on immediately? So the first element of this is to do a current state analysis. This is going to be your 30,000 foot overview. Some of the things to consider looking at here are, the back end of your listings, listing errors. Do you have any stranded inventory? Marketing. What are you doing in terms of PPC? Are you taking advantage of everything? Are you using coupons? Are you using promotions? Buy box suppressions, account health issues, expansion opportunities. Of course, there's more to this, but these are just some examples. So where are you at right now? Are there opportunities that you're not actually taking advantage of? So take a moment, you jot those down. And then the second step, the second element here would be impact. So once you've kind of made a list of, hey, here's where I'm at right now. Here's the things I'm doing. Here's the things I'm not taking advantage of yet. Next, we need to identify which things are going to really move the needle. So how much difference, I like to ask these on each one of those things I've written down. How much difference will it make Look at each of the points, point by point, and ask yourself that question. Is this thing really going to make a big difference by being implemented or outsourced or finding a solution for it, or is it not? This kind of takes the stress out of it, takes the unknown out of the equation, so you at least know and you can see, maybe something that you've been stressing about that is on your mind day to day is actually not that important or not really going to change your business very much. And maybe this other thing is a huge impact area that you haven't even been considering or thinking about. So go through and evaluate the impact of each one of those things. From there, we're going on to number 3, which is the cost time analysis. This is a fun one, but essentially we're evaluating the amount of time it's going to take to actually implement a fix or a solution or improve this. Maybe you're having issues with keeping inventory in stock. Okay, look at what is the cost to your bottom line in terms of you're running out of stock on certain SKUs, and then think about the approximate how much it's going to cost to either get someone that can come and manage your inventory or build the reports that you need, but essentially find the cost or try to get a rough estimate for the cost for that fix. And then check this against the impact. There's no point, of course, throwing money, time and money at something that's not going to make a big enough difference. So that's why it's important to double back and just make sure that, hey, this is going to make a big difference and hopefully for the lowest cost. And this brings us to the final element, which is priority. So after you've kind of gone through that and kind of digested what you've written down, look at it and prioritize. What are the things that are most important to you in the next 30, 60, 90 days to start heading towards that revenue number and start resolving some of those issues that you're facing or taking advantage of some of those opportunities. And then from there, that's where we can really start to pinpoint these are the things that are going to have the biggest impact and ideally for the lowest cost time effort. I also like to put a caveat in here. There's certain things in your Amazon business that you just hate doing. Maybe it's dealing with flat files, listing updates. That's one of the things I've always hated doing. That's something to also consider. If this is a big thing that's causing you stress, you can probably go and outsource that. And if it's not too expensive, that might be the best solution that you have rather than continuing to pull your hair out over it day after day. So this is the same thing we've done with all of our clients. We've had about 250 plus Amazon clients come through and do this system with all of them. So when you do this, again, just as a summary, it gives you a fresh perspective on exactly where you're at right now, the steps that you need to take to actually get from here to the next level, and which ones are actually going to make a huge impact to your business. I'm going to pause for a second. Chris, any questions? I've been talking a mile a minute here, so I want to make sure I address anything.
So there's one, and then I actually have a couple. So Nikita is curious, can the team fix search suppressed listings?
Yeah, we can definitely do that. So our team will troubleshoot issues with search suppressions to see if there's a glitch causing that or if there's a clear way that we can identify something that's causing that. And then we go and execute on a resolution for it. It's certainly something that we help a lot of our clients out with.
Nice. Now, a couple of things that I'm curious about. I noticed that one of the things you guys talk about is buy box suppressions. Have you guys been able to get buy boxes unsuppressed on like arbitrage products, or is that mostly when buy boxes become suppressed on private label and things like that?
We've seen success with that. I mean, the common one I get talked or asked about is mostly private label sellers, but I know it happens to all kinds of different sellers. We've had success dealing with it, but as you know, and I hate answering things this way, but I like to keep the expectations real. Amazon is challenging because there are things like the buy box where Amazon doesn't really give us a clear guidelines in terms of why you've lost the buy box or why a certain thing has happened. And a lot of those, the tendency is that they're normally controlled by both the algorithmic side and the kind of the actual side, the rest of the side, which is something maybe we can execute on. If it's an algorithmic thing, normally even Amazon reps don't have a way to get it resolved. However, if it's something that there is like a glitch in the back end or there's a clear-cut reason, those are the things where our team can step in, and we have seen success getting them resolved. So it's always tough because I've had a lot of sellers who don't understand the Amazon platform as well. The common one I see, I'll just mention really quick, is they change their price on their direct consumer site, and then their buy box gets lost, and that's a whole headache. So people, they ask what we can do to help. It's something that we'll go through and troubleshoot whatever the issue is, and then we'll follow up and take the necessary actions. We have seen some success with it, but certainly there are instances where we can't do as much because it is an algorithm thing. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that was perfect.
What have you seen
so,
have you
on the arbitrage side, it's typically lowering your price. And I don't know. For me, a buy box suppression isn't a big deal. I understand that it may slow down velocity, but customers still buy. But of course, we like higher velocity products. Everyone does. So having a buy box is a huge plus. There's another one here. Are you guys able to resolve CPC issues or assist with obtaining that kind of documentation?
Are we talking about cost per click?
CPC is Child Product Certificate. It's basically Amazon wants certificates that toys are safe for kids under 12.
Yeah, we do get people that come to us with issues like that. Yeah, so if you have the necessary documentation, then it's something that we can assist on. There are instances where you might not have that. That makes it a little bit more challenging, but it is something that our team will work on and try to get you as much support on as possible. Of course, nice. Every instance is a little different, but yes, it is something we do.
Yeah, CPCs are one of those. It's one of those difficult things because they're not legally required to post them publicly or anything like that, and so you could even call a distributor or something, and they may not even have them. They are tough. Now, I want to kind of pull back and ask a few questions that I'm curious about because, so. One, I'm curious, how do you guys stay on top of all the changes with Amazon? And the reason that I ask is that it's sort of my job to make sure I try to stay on top of the changes and be able to report that to other sellers and things like that. And it can be a full-time job. So I'm curious, how do you guys structure that inside Seller Candy to make sure that you guys are aware of all the things that are kind of coming down the pike?
Yeah, it's a great question. A big part of it is because we have exposure to so many different brands at literally brands, sellers, agencies, whatever, at all different parts of the equation. Like we have some that are, smaller sellers just getting started. And then we have very, very large sellers that we support with, all in different niches. A lot of it is that we can just draw on the knowledge that we're getting from working on specific issues on each one of those accounts. Internally, we do a lot of sharing of the information. So if our structure is that as such that, if there is an issue that the individual agent might not have a resolution for, they can go and pull on a bunch of different team members and say, hey, here's what's going on. What have we seen that works to resolve this? I'd say that's one of the biggest things. And that's one of the, the reasons that, but even before I started working with Seller Candy, I was so excited about it because I'd come from that world. And I know it's really tough to stay on top of this stuff. Separate from that, I'm selfishly just curious about all the Amazon stuff, and a lot of our team members are too. So, we try to find the best resources for it. But I know your blog and the content you post is great, but there's so much content these days, right? So I would just say the biggest thing I've seen is always have at least a toe dipped in the pool. I've seen this with agencies before that I've talked to where they're running the PPC or the campaigns or the business, the strategy direction for a lot of their client accounts, but they don't have their own Amazon business or their own internal Seller Central account that they can test things on. And I feel like that's a big, I don't want to say a red flag, but that's definitely something that is maybe worrisome. I always like the idea of at least having or knowing the party that you're working with is has a bunch of data points that they can actually take context in from and share across. And we also do have a lot of clients who tell us like, hey, we have this issue. It comes up every single month. Here's what we've done that's worked really well in fixing it. And they will literally tell our team, like, this is what the process is. And we will then take that and add that into our knowledge base. So
nice.
Yeah.
It fascinates me because, like I said, it does almost take a full-time job to make sure to keep up with Amazon. But then the weird thing, and I think maybe a superpower that Seller Candy has, is that you kind of have to read between the lines sometimes. You know what this person says to you and what another rep says to you, and then you know,
Right.
you got to kind of put that all together. And because you guys get to deal, you know, kind of have your hands in so many different accounts, you get to see, well, you know, where are the you know, where's this happening frequently, so that we can kind of read between that line and figure out what Amazon actually wants when they don't necessarily tell us. It's interesting.
100%. I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
you know, Amazon. It's the most frustrating thing. Everything's a gray area for the most part. So having the context to know, like, hey, even though they're saying this, I have a good feeling that this, from my experience, that what they're telling me is wrong, or that I can actually go and do this to fix, you know, this, whatever this issue may be. So, you know, a
Yeah.
lot of it's just knowing what levers you have to play with, and that the Amazon reps don't always know what's going on. So
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. All right, last question that we've got right now, and I think I know the answer to this one, but I want to let you take it. Is someone's curious if you guys deal with account suspensions?
Yeah, we do assist with account suspensions. Every single one of them is unique, right? Like every suspension is different. It's something we normally talk to the individual or the person with the account and see what's going on and troubleshoot it as best we can. And then the ones that are more challenging, we've certainly seen like a lot of the Section 3 dropship violations. I've talked to a number of sellers there. If there's instances where those are very challenging, especially if you've had multiple suspensions or you've submitted a ton of appeals. The biggest thing I always caution is don't submit a ton of appeals. Take every appeal seriously before submitting it. But the short answer is, yeah, we can help out with this.
Okay, perfect. All right, stage is yours again.
All right, cool. Those are great questions. So how do we implement this? So just to pull it all back together. So how do we guarantee that this system is going to work for you as a seller here? So part 3, we're going to talk about Seller Candy and actually how we can provide kind of an all-in-one solution for this. So this is what the Seller Candy expansion system actually is. So essentially, to give you some context, we have about 50 agents now on our team. Many of them are ex-Amazon seller support staff members. So we do try our best to recruit out of ex-Amazon seller support, or they come from an agency background. But essentially, with this program, you actually get access to people that are experts that have been inside Amazon, and they're collaborating with you as an extension of your team. We allow you to submit as many tasks to us as you'd like. So you can submit unlimited issues to us, and I'll show you our ticketing portal here momentarily. Once you submit those, so these are for one-time issues. We, normally as something comes up, you tell us what you want us to go and do. As you submit those tickets, then you get updates from our team every 24 hours after you've submitted that ticket about what's going on, where it's at, if there's anything that is needed, or if it's been resolved. And then we have 3 tasks open at any given time. So you can come in and submit as many tasks as you want. We work on 3 at a time. Anytime we finish one, we actually move on to the next one in your queue. And we also help with weekly Amazon return reimbursements. This is a thing that I've seen become a bigger and bigger issue. Even if you're a smaller seller, not doing a ton in terms of monthly volume, it's going to become a bigger piece of the equation, especially with Amazon fees going the direction that they are. We've seen a lot of demand for this space, and you should definitely have some sort of solution for this, whether it's internal or with us or someone else. And we can also help with inventory projections and reporting as well. So if you want to add expertise to your team without the hassle of hiring, Seller Candy is perfect. So if you have a specific issue you want us to resolve, so the suspension or something else that's going on, even if it's a recurring thing every single month, these are all things that we tackle for our clients. Knowing which steps, what are the next steps to actually get to the next level. So from that gap analysis, we talked about, knowing what your next revenue target is and knowing what things you need to do to really make that impact. Now getting that team in place, and we can help you do that to actually go and execute on that. And this is a big one I just want to bring it back to is replace a single team member with a full team of experts. This I think is very, very critical. You have built-in redundancy. If you have a freelancer and they're sick or they run into that nuanced issue that they don't know how to resolve, now you have to go and start the whole process over again and find someone else. Instead, you want to be looking for a full team, and that's what you get with us. So Seller Candy expansion system is just for you. So I'm just going to go over a couple slides here, and then we'll do a little Q&A as well. But ultimately, we want to make an offer to you to invite you to join the Seller Candy family, and just kind of show you at its core, we work through our custom ticketing portal. So the really cool thing about Seller Candy is that everything goes through this ticketing portal. You always have transparency and visibility. And it's really easy to use. Anytime you have an issue that comes up, all you do is come in here and actually hit submit a ticket. You fill in this form to tell us what's going on and what the outcome is. We're totally outcome driven. And then we go execute on every single step that needs to be done in order to get that issue resolved. And you just get updates every 24 hours. And you get full transparency over all of that. So it makes it it's a very clean, easy to use system for tracking what's going on. Chris, you were asking earlier about, managing all the cases that you have going on. This is a great way to do it because we essentially take it off your plate. So if you do elect to join with this offer that we're going to make, you will receive immediately upon joining an email from us. It's going to give you instructions on what we need from you. And then it's going to have a calendar link to actually go ahead and book a very brief onboarding call with our team. It is first come, first serve. And then you will also get a private message to join our problem solver group. So we do have a private group as well that tackles issues. And once we have all those issues, we'll actually go and do the gap analysis for you. So normally within a week of starting, we'll actually go and build that gap analysis for you, get on a call with you, present it, answer questions that you may have. So it's really valuable if you want to just take the headache out of doing that, get us to do kind of the heavy lifting, and then give us feedback, ask questions, so on and so forth. And as Chris grants webinar members, we're going to do a special of $100 off your first month. So we want to make sure that you guys have something sweet to help you get the support that you need with your business. If you want, we have all kinds of Trustpilot reviews, so check those out as well. I won't read through all of them here, but I just want to reiterate, your time is valuable. We've talked to a lot of our clients, and before signing up with us, they told us they were spending 10 to 15 hours a week managing all the little weird things that might happen in their Seller Central account. So just want to ask, pose a question to yourself, but what would you do with that 10 to 15 hours if you could get that back? Your time is probably better used in other places. So a couple other thoughts here. The gap analysis we offer, a lot of companies will offer that for $1,400 as a one-time thing. Our client base has grown 300% in the last couple of years. So we've got quite a few clients now, and a very good track record with resolving issues as long as they're possible to resolve. Well, you get people that submit tickets sometimes for issues that are truly impossible. So anyway, to celebrate kind of the growth of this expansion system, we're offering our this special. It's normally $797 a month, so you're going to get the first month for $697, which is an awesome offer just for the Chris Grant people. And you just need to use a coupon code. So head to this link right here. You put in a coupon code to check out. That's going to give you the $100 off the first month, and you'll get the next subsequent instructions after that. All right, you might be saying, you don't need this right now. You might come back later. So I'm going to make one additional thing here. We're offering an epic bonus for you guys today. So John, who, again, not here, and Arvin, the guy with the cat sitting on him, he's our chief delivery officer. By signing up and taking advantage of this offer, we're also going to give you direct access to our senior leaders. So you'll be able to reach out to these guys, ask questions via chat, phone, email, schedule a Zoom call. And we truly do not offer this to any of our other customers because they have limited time. So this is something that we hope that you will take advantage of because John's been in the space 7 years. I think Arvin's been in the Amazon space 7 years. They've got a lot of knowledge, and we want to be able to give you access to that knowledge as well. So essentially, you're getting everything that it's taken us years to actually go and build out, and you're going to feel completely safe. The one last thing I want to reiterate here is we're going to give you a 2-part guarantee. We want to make sure that you sign up, use our service. It is perfect for your business, and you feel safe in doing so. And so part one is we offer the expansion system with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And then we truly don't have a lot of people that take advantage of that, but we do offer it. We want you to be happy, no questions asked. And number 2 is burning issue. If you have something critical right now and you want us to fix it, if you come in, sign up, use us to get it fixed. If we can't fix it, we will give you a full refund on anything that you've spent with us as well. So just want to sweeten the deal there a little bit more. So we're trying to make it so that there's no excuse for you not to sign up. Last time we came on the Chris Grant webinars, we've done a ton of sign up volume. So we're going to get to the live Q&A in a second here. But if you want to add expertise to your team, if you want to deal with a specific issue, know what the next steps are to get the most out of your business and get multiple people on your team, this is definitely an offer for you. And one thing to mention here, we're only doing this for the first 15 people or so, especially with the limited time from our onboarding and John and Arvin. So, time is of the essence there. But if you're interested in joining, head to that link. We've got testimonials on our site, all that jazz. So, guys, that's it. Without further ado, I just, thank you. I hope you put up with me there, and I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. Hopefully they're not ridiculously technical, but I'm happy to try my best.
No. So Nikita is curious. Do you guys handle like shipment and lost inventory reimbursements? It's sort of like, GetITA or, one of the other services that's out there?
Sure. Yeah, 100%. So one of the cool things is, we do have an entire team dedicated to reimbursement. So essentially we do weekly audits for clients' accounts. We download out all of the reports, look for all the different areas where there might be opportunities for reimbursements. And then we deal with all of the processing and filing of casework as well. The other cool thing that, cool relatively speaking, but if you've never done any work on the reimbursement side, we can go back retroactively between 6 and 18 months. So our agents will go back and look, have there been any reimbursement opportunities from the past 6 or 18 months that we can fight to get money back for you on? So just want to highlight that, if you've never considered doing any kind of reimbursement work, it's definitely something that could be a sizable amount for you if we get reimbursed for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question. Hopefully another couple people will chime in here, but I know one of the reasons that I joined with you guys is because I've hired people to be on my team, and I understand the process. I also understand that I'm not the greatest manager of people. So, but hiring like a sourcing virtual assistant or someone to handle some things for you, I know how much time it can take. I mean, you're not just talking hiring someone and them getting right into it. You're talking maybe weeks or even months of training. And so I'm curious, like, what does the training process look like for your guys' new employees to make sure that they can get up to speed and things like that?
Yeah, great question. It's definitely important. So what we kind of do is we put them through normally a 3 to 6 month period where they will shadow another team member and go through a full training protocol. So we actually have, various different weekly sessions where we're going through very specific issues in the processes. We have tons of SOPs internally. So, the idea that I always say is like, I always fantasize about when I was running my own Amazon business, about creating all these SOPs that I could give to someone else to execute on. I didn't end up doing that because that's ridiculously challenging. And then you have to stay on top of them, every little change that Amazon has. Fortunately, because of our team and our capabilities, we're able to put those in place. So we put everyone through that training protocol. And then after that, they're still monitored and watched. So we have different silos of agents. Each one has a leadership band. These are people with seniority that have been in the Amazon space for a while. So if that person does come into one of those tough to solve issues, they have someone right there to tap on their shoulder and say, hey, can you assist me with this? Or have you seen this? But it's absolutely something that we do with every single one of our agents.
That's fantastic. And do you guys deal with counterfeit complaints and gathering all the right paperwork from the seller and things like that to handle those?
Yeah, it's absolutely something we can help with. It's helpful if we're given the documents, but certainly if you need us to go and try to chase someone down to get necessary documents, we can do that. So yeah, I know I'm thinking of one client we've done that recently for successfully. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's fantastic. Of course, all sellers should have those kind of documents, tucked away, but every now and again, you forget one, lose one, things like that. It can be a little tough to go track those things down. I know the way I always like to think about this is, you talk about saving 10 to 15 hours a week, and even if you just want to make $50 an hour as an Amazon seller, and that's kind of like your bottom line, that's 10 hours a week. That's $500 of your time every single week. Extrapolate that out over a month or 6 months and things like that, and it becomes rather expensive when you're having to deal with all of these managerial tasks. And I think that people need to shift their thinking to that a little bit, because the return that we can get on our time invested in something like sourcing or building relationships, things like that, is going to have a much higher return than being able to have a team member handle all of these things for you, and you not have to worry about it, and even be able to sleep a little better at night.
100%. Well, definitely getting better quality sleep is important, but yeah, I mean, and part of it's too just moving to that next level in terms of your mindset, right? Of I've seen this with myself so many times, getting stuck in that mindset of like, oh, well, I know I need to do this to get to my next level, but there's this immediate issue that I have to deal with right now, or I think I have to deal with, and a lot of times it's that's not the reality. It's just kind of my instant reaction to it. So part of it's that mindset shift as well, but certainly getting access to a team, I think, is a very valuable thing, and people you don't really have to babysit all the time. So that's kind of the nice thing with our service. Last
question. I know it's getting. I think you're in Texas, right, Ben?
I'm in California this week.
You're in California this week. Okay. All right. So I know it's getting a little late for us East Coasters. So last question, something I always try to ask people is, what are some of the questions that maybe I haven't asked or nobody else has asked that you get quite frequently from new customers?
Well, one of them is, what's the most common thing you guys deal with? And we had about 15,000 tickets submitted to our system last year. And when we pulled the numbers on it, what we found is about 30% of them were related to catalog issues of some kind, which I'm not really surprised. Amazon, especially even for brand registered private label sellers, has made it very challenging to just do a simple fix or simple update to your listing. That's kind of the number one thing I would call out. I'm trying to think what else. Account health related issues are very challenging too. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. I'm trying to think. Normally it's more of, I get questions from sellers that maybe are newer to selling on Amazon about things like we talked about earlier, the buy box related issue, where it's more of asking, hey, I don't have the buy box. Why don't I have this? And can you guys help? And the answer I give, and I don't always like to give this, is, hey, let me explain how Amazon works. Sometimes if there's a certain issue, you can get it resolved, and other times it's out of your control. And so that's kind of the educational component that just comes with this journey of learning, again, what you can and can't do. And it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the catalog issue, it doesn't surprise me. I know that Amazon, they want the catalog clean, but of course trying to, just in the United States, there's about 1 billion ASINs that's tracked by Keepa. And so it's impossible to make sure the catalog stays as clean as they might want it to. And I know one of the things that's difficult for me when those kind of issues come up is it's like flat files. Flat files confuse the heck out of me. I know that they're not that difficult, but my brain just stops working when I have to look at one. So,
I'm in the same boat. And fortunately for me, I'm not, I don't interface with the actual flat files as much, but I've been there before, right? I used to do that when I managed brands, is constantly dealing with the flat files when you've got someone yelling at you to get them done faster. So they can be confusing. And there's a certain point in your Amazon selling journey where it is important to go through maybe that trial by fire. You want to figure out flat files for yourself, but at a certain point you kind of outgrow that, and you have too many other things that are more pressing or more meaningful to growing your business, where it really makes more sense to give that to someone else. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, perfect. So listen, if you guys are interested, make sure to. I put the link in the chat. I'll make sure that after this is over, there's a link that's easy for you guys to see in the video description. Whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or via an email, whatever it is. But if you're interested, make sure to click that link wherever it might be. And Ben, before we wrap things up, any final words for this evening?
No, I think that's it. I think just, we were just at the Prosper show last week, and, everyone's talking about this is the year of profitability in your Amazon business and finding ways to streamline it and make it more efficient. So I would just consider that kind of as you're moving forward and going through the next few months. But Seller Candy is a great resource for assisting you there. And, I'm happy to talk to anyone else that has questions or anything else. So feel free to reach out to me as well. But yeah, thanks again, guys. Thanks, Chris, for having us.
Thank you. Let me ask this one last question. What's the best place to reach you if someone has a question later on down the road?
You can reach me at ben@sellercandy.com. That might blow up my inbox, but let's just do it.
Yeah, there we go. Well, perfect. Please don't abuse that, but Ben is a wealth of knowledge and extremely helpful. So, Ben, thanks so much for hanging out. And if anybody has questions or needs to get a hold of me, feel free to email me as well, and I can always shoot some questions Ben's way. So that's it for tonight, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I look forward to talking with you guys soon.